I wanted to do, well, not just me, but Mr. Bowie, David Bowie wants me to do a video on how to channel basically. And now this is my technique and this is how I got to where I was able to do this. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you. This might mean that you need to adapt certain things about this to you as an individual. So the first thing that you need to keep in mind is that you have a mind and it's a little hamster running around in your head. And most of the time, we don't have control over the hamster. Now, why a lot of gurus or people in the spiritual community encourage people to meditate is to calm down the little hamster in your head. Let's talk about the mind. So, if you believe that all the thoughts that you think all belong to you, then it might come as a surprise that not necessarily everything that you think is actually your own thoughts. It can be many different things that are happening in your mind. First of all, you have your habitual thoughts, things that you think on a regular basis. It could be a belief. It could be a belief about yourself. It could be something that you think is a fact. However, all these beliefs and facts, they attract other thought forms to you. And all of this mishmash is your mind working, attracting other thoughts, attracting other ideas with the ideas it already has. So if you're familiar with the law of attraction, this is basically what's happening. Now, every now and then, within the gaps, there can be a spirit or someone, a source, a spirit, your higher self, that comes in and gives you a suggestion, an idea that seems to come out of nowhere. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it happened often to me. And I would think, well, that belongs to me, that idea that I've never thought before of, or never thought of something similar to that before, just popped into my mind. And that's just me thinking. But guess what? That's not you necessarily thinking, that's you receiving thoughts. So your mind can think thoughts and your mind can also receive thoughts. Now, in order to be able to separate the two, take some practice. And meditation is the best way to do that, because when you calm your mind, you'll be able to see what thoughts are popping in your mind out of default and what thoughts are popping into your mind because you're receiving them from another place. So if you're not someone who likes to meditate, then you don't need to meditate necessarily. You can do other activities that help to stop your own thought processes. And that's really the most important thing you must key into, is how to stop your own mind chatter. I'm not someone who really likes to meditate necessarily, but I do enjoy walking in nature. I do enjoy listening to music. I do enjoy reading books. Any activity basically for you. It could be running, it could be playing a sport, anything that stops you from thinking and puts you into the present moment where you need to be present. Once you've been doing this for a while, now I'm not sure how long it will take for you. It can take a year, 2 years, 3 years, overnight. The key is not to expect. And also, if one of these activities that you do is an activity where you need to put yourself in a place where you can get guidance. So I also think creative activities, if you can manage them, or you can find, you don't necessarily need talent to engage in a creative activity, but just to put yourself in a creative space where you open yourself up to receiving suggestions. For me, my creative activity was digital retouching. I would sit down. There was no classes or no courses at the time to do this. So I just sat down and I experimented. I just had an open mind and I would receive suggestions on what to do and how to do it or what to try. Then the next creative activity was drawing. I love to draw, and drawing forced me not to think but to really look at the lines in front of me. So by doing that, I open myself up to receiving suggestions about how to look at the lines or how to see them. My most recent creative activity is doing makeup and creating characters. Here again, I did not receive any formal training. I do watch videos though, but a lot of the work itself is you putting the hand into the paint and doing the creation. And often I wasn't sure what colors to use or what to do. So I would put myself in this position where I would receive from whoever was willing to assist me on what to do or how to do it. These again are my personal examples. So it doesn't mean this will work for you. But if there's anything creative you like to do, I would suggest that you use it to train your mind to separate what are your thoughts and what is coming in from somewhere else. Now, of course, you have to believe that there is another place, another space, or other beings that are sending you this energy or this information for this to work. If you don't believe in that and you're just waiting for a transmission, then this will stop the process because you need to believe that this really exists, unfortunately. Once you're receiving the information and you're being confident that this information is good information, because that's also a step. It's trusting that what you're receiving is good information, is the right information, not doubting it. Because when you start doubting whatever you're receiving, then you also cut the flow of what's coming to you. So it's sort of a flow of energy that first you need to believe into this flow, and then you need to be able to receive it and be able to make the difference between your own thoughts and this flow that is coming into you. Now, to identify who is coming into you, sometimes it's not really possible. Or the way to identify who's coming in is just to ask questions or to put yourself in a situation where random electronics can be controlled by these spirits to tell you who they are or where they're coming from. Sometimes I will get ideas and thoughts, and those are not necessarily specific to a spirit. It can be just general guidance coming in. So you don't need to know at all times who is sending you the information. But if you want to channel, then that's something a little bit more imprecise. Also, you can't always choose who comes in when you're channeling. You can meditate on them, you can focus on them. But some of these beings, they're not directly connected to you, so they might not come, or they might not see the benefit of them coming to you for you to channel them. Again, there's a guideline in the universe where if you're doing something and it's very selfish oriented, only for your own benefit, then the universe will not assist you as much as if what you're doing is for the benefit of more people than yourself. When I started to receive these transmissions from other spirits, I realized that there was a responsibility for me to share them. You don't have to necessarily share any of the transmissions you receive. You can channel spirits for your own benefit, for your own guidance. But there is a certain law that these spirits have to respect, is that they cannot interfere in your choices. So if you're asking spirits to tell you what to do with your life, then unfortunately you won't get any messages for that part. However, if at certain points in life you need to know information, or you need to know certain things for your benefit, to increase whatever you need to increase in your life, or to find the direction that you need to find, then you will get assistance. But the spirits cannot tell you what to do, how to do, and where to do it. That is all up to you. That is your creative part. And they cannot interfere. No matter how much you ask them or plea, it is all your responsibility. Once you reach a certain level of confidence, it will come much more naturally to you, and you'll be able to connect more easily and receive the thoughts more easily, because you won't be doubting them or questioning if this is really happening or not happening. It's a very subtle feeling when the transmissions are coming in. It's not, someone talking into your ear necessarily, although it could be for you. For me, it's more a very subtle sensation of, this is not me, this is someone else coming in. This is someone else tuning into through me and through my senses. Now, if you're reaching for personal loved ones, you have to remember that they all have their tasks and things to do on the other side, and they might not be able to be there every day with you when you channel or you try to channel them. And remember to be patient, to practice, and you will question what is really happening some days, and other days you will find your footing and you'll feel sure that you're really channeling. But it's all an internal mechanism that you need to develop and to fine tune. And it's a very, very delicate and very subtle process. So take your time and make sure, first of all, that you can separate your thoughts from other thoughts coming in. That's really the most important thing. Once you have that down, then the thing is to build your own confidence that you're actually receiving valid thoughts and valid information from the other side. Now, don't go asking super precise questions, but if you are vague and start with very general questions or very open questions, there's ways of connecting to the spirit world to get guidance. And some of them might be very direct to you. It all depends on you. Me, again, my personal experience is it's very vague and guided. And sometimes I have to go and read a book or something, and then it just jumps out at me, or something jumps out at me from another perspective. Sometimes you have to put out the question and you have to wait for it to be answered when it's not an easy question.